Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just all the stuff going on at the CW. Because over the past, I guess it's been over the past 12 months, there's been all this like curiosity about what happens going forward. But over the past couple months, it feels like it's been free falling, as that song would say. I'm not going to sing it just because this is an American Idol. Don't need to audition. But obviously, like a few months ago, when like the whole Next Star deal to take over the CW was starting to play out in regards to like being a real thing. It was almost promised like nothing would really that change too much at the CW, and that's why all those shows like Batwoman, like Legends, all those other shows back then were cancelled. It was to free up space on the CW to make it more safe for those current shows that are still on now, whether it's their final season like a Flash or a Riverdale, or a show like a Superman Lois or a Walker and stuff going forward. It was to make their future more promising, more safe by lightening the load around them, if you want to call it. And then it was like a few months, like a month or two after that, that it changed to the point where they were saying they're going to cut costs, and some shows might not make it. It depends how they perform, and they're going to really look at that. And then it was only like a couple of weeks ago where they were starting to talk about license fees and they needed to cut down on that. And then this thing came out this morning when I woke up. It was literally, I opened my phone. This is the first thing I saw. A couple of people tagged me and sent me, and I was like, okay, let's talk about it. And I don't think it necessarily means 100% what some people think it does mean, but it definitely isn't a good thing at the same time. So as you can see on screen right now, Deadline put this out there. I don't think it's an exclusive. I think everyone posted it, just that most people just, I guess, sharing around the Deadline article. But it says the CW to shed WBD or Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount content in 2023-2024 season. Former owners not precluded from selling us programming if it's a deal we like, says Nexstar CEO. And when they say former owners, they're talking about Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount, because they both used to be full owners. They used to both equally own 50% of the CW. So as we can see here, Nexstar CEO Perry Sook and executives of the nation's biggest broadcaster said it's imprimatur, which means like their control or authority, I guess, will be evident on the CW schedule for the 2023-2024 season, with lower cost, broader appeal, and more unscripted fare, and minimal content from former co-owners Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global. Now, of course, the 2023-24 season is like next year from this, so like a year from now. So it doesn't include the beginning of 2023 where Flash, Superman, Lois, those shows are premiering, and some other shows like Gotham Knights. Doesn't include that. That's the back end of the 2022-2023 season. So this is still a year away, but we'll know everything what's happening in that period probably by like, I don't know, like March through to June or something like that. So not too far away until that's really laid out what's going on there exactly. Now, there may be some contractual holdovers, and going forward, Warner and Paramount are not precluded from selling us programming. It's just going to have to be a financial deal that we like, and there may be a couple of shows that distinguish themselves this year that we want to hold over to next year. Sook told investors on a call following third quarter earnings. Nexstar, the biggest owners of the CW affiliates, closed its purchase network on September 30th, the last day of the quarter. So yeah, this is like I think it must be their first quarter, their first like financial talk with investors, I guess, since they took over. I think, I'm not too sure, but obviously they say there's some contractual holdovers, and I'm not too sure exactly what shows that would be. Now we know that like a show like Superman Lois, which we'll talk about later as well, like they built that set, for example, up in Vancouver, and it was like a 5-year deal. So we don't know exactly if like money was paid to Warner Brothers for the rights to that whole show and stuff like that, 4, 5, 6 seasons or something like that, and it'd be in the CW's best interest to at least do another season or two after the current one they're filming now. Or if they're talking about a show like Walker, a show like Winchester's, which is only in its first season, there could be deals that they spend money on that's still on the CW books and under what Next Up it took over, that it's worth seeing out the contract, or at least seeing out some of it. But then they're vague with it, so we don't know exactly what they're talking about. But the thing that this article this part of the article confirms is that going forward, the CW is pretty much dead. It's pretty much like nothing new is going to be showing up there, which we assumed. Like we assumed based off the license fee stuff and how they're talking about all this, like minimal cost content, then they're not going to go out of their way and develop a new show, try and build an audience around it and everything like that, and spend a lot of money on it, like they've done before with other shows. I mean, the Gotham Knights is coming out this season, which just seems like a show that's dead on arrival, even before this news came out. So they're not going to go out of their way to do things like that. So that type of show and that side of the CW is dead. Any new show that comes in is going to be like an internationally acquired show or a low cost unscripted show. Like like unscripted is probably the word that's been most associated with the CW and been said in articles associated with the CW since this next takeover. And that's pretty much what they're going to make. And if Warner and Paramount make shows, it is that unscripted or extremely cheap, like reality stuff. So it's, stuff that people turn on in the background while they're doing the dishes or vacuuming or, I don't know, doing something else. It's stuff you actually don't watch and pay attention to. It's like head noise almost. That's the shows they want. Now, it says here that Sook praised the network's new entertainment chief, Brad Schwartz, who we talked about a handful of days ago, as a very gifted programming executive, a creative mind, and a very creative deal maker with a sharp eye for talent. The former head of Pop TV, on a much smaller budget than we have given him at the CW, was able to find and develop a show called Schitt's Creek. We told him, your job is easy. Just go find a couple more of those, and we'll be in fine shape at the CW, he said, referring to the Emmy juggernaut. I like the direction we are headed with the CW, Sook added. Now, the thing with this is that, Brad Schwartz said some stuff that we went over, and it just didn't really make sense because he was talking about, like, oh, I love the CW, I've always did. And, yeah, but you're taking over the CW where it's not really the CW anymore. And all these things like gifted programming, creative mind, deal maker, it's pretty much he's cheap. He gets stuff done for cheap. He's penny pincher, which is good for a business and everything like that. But they talk about this Creek thing, and like Schitt's Creek was just like a bit of diamond amongst some rocks. You know what I mean? Like the fact that that's the only show that he mentions there from that time at that Pop TV. This isn't me like discrediting Brad Schwartz, but it's also Schitt's Creek was one of those shows that no one watched early on, and then it got really popular in its final few seasons. So, but the CW isn't going to let a show marinate over 3 or 4 years. They want success and notability around that success straight away. So I don't know why they even bothered mentioning Schitt's Creek, because it didn't really get that popular till later in its run. So like the opposite with pretty much most shows on TV. Usually most shows are their most popular at the beginning, and then they fall off towards the end in regards to viewership. Schitt's Creek was the opposite, but that's why it would be so hard to find another one like that. But this is pretty much like, I guess, like the dagger, the dagger in the heart, if you want to put it. The goal is to cut costs and ultimately turn a profit. The CFO reiterated plans for the network to pull into the black by 2025. She said Nexstar anticipates the CW will generate just under $70 million of revenue in the current fourth quarter that they're in, and we are executing on our synergies and getting the right people in place. She added, predicting incremental costs of a low 8-figure amount for restructuring changes in the quarter, apparently for severance, because they obviously did. It wasn't just dozens. I think it was. Well, I guess dozens is a great right worded. I think it was like 30 or 40 people that they laid off from the network, so they're going to have to pay out some of those people, obviously. Now, this is the big question going forward. If this is the alert, this could be the CW just saying, hey, Warner Brothers and Paramount, we aren't probably going to renew a lot of the shows or have that much of an intention to, unless there's a financial reason to for us because of a contractual reason. Like we've already paid money in advance, or the CW as a company paid money in advance, and we've taken over that, those finances. So it's worth keeping a show around for a year or two, which could be a show like Superman, Lois, or Walker that maybe money was paid in advance. But it also could be a warning to Warner Brothers, to Paramount, to say we aren't going to continue these shows. So if you want to, on your own streaming services or on another network where you can pitch it, this is your warning. This is your field. This is your time to do it. Now, Superman and Lois is in a weird position where I just don't think Warner Brothers would move it to HBO Max as a full-time show. I wish it would. I think most people wish it would. I just don't know. The thing that could help it is Jim Lee, because Jim Lee's backed the show a lot. And obviously he is the head, like the DC entertainment chief or whatever it is. But it just matters what they want to do there, because the whole Henry Cavill situation with him coming back in puts like a question mark on this. Like if that hadn't been done, I think like the likelihood of maybe Superman and Lois going over to HBO Max might be a better chance. but I just don't know what the chances are now because of that situation. Even though we're probably still like 3 or 4 years away from them doing anything with Superman and Lois, and by that point, Superman and Lois will have finished a run because I think they said that there's about a 5 season plan for that show, pretty much. So I'm very curious to see what happens, and this could be the warning from the CW, so that discussion can start happening at Warner Brothers and everything like that, and as well as Paramount with the shows they're connected to in regards to potentially moving shows. Now, it's not an anomaly. Shows move a decent amount. I mean, like Lucifer, for example, was a network show on, was it Fox? Fox canceled it, and then Netflix picked it up. I think Netflix did the same with Manifest. I think there's shows like was it Brooklyn Nine-Nine got canceled, and then another network. I know which network canceled. I think it was like, was it from Fox to NBC or NBC to Fox? One of the two. So it happens a lot, but not a ridiculous amount at the same time. It's just happened before. So, and this is a bit of a different one as well because um, it's like a network which was owned by a company like Warner Brothers Discovery when the show was made. Then they sold the company, and then the show's being cancelled by the new owners. So it's a bit of like a different territory. So who knows how it's going to play out? It's going to be a very interesting, I would say, probably 3 to 6 months. And I feel really bad for the people like that are currently still filming because they're not even like halfway through the filming of the current season. And it really makes you wonder whether they pull the rug or something under or go, oh, Superman and Lois, you're probably going to have they probably got agreed on 15 episodes. Oh, we're cutting you down to 13. We're cutting you down to 10 to save money. Who knows what they're going to do? Like they legitimately could do that if they wanted to. Even if it felt a bit dodgy at the same time, but illegal. But I think a lot of people are curious as to what's going to happen. But pretty much this is the CW dying off as it is. And I don't know, it feels weird because I don't know if Next Star will be like applauded for this. I haven't seen anyone ever talk positively about this. It just seems like we're going to try and like flip something to make money as quickly as possible, and it would not surprise me too much if like in like X amount of years, the CW has different owners, or they try to sell off the individual affiliate networks in certain areas and stuff like that. But I don't know. Let's wait and see what happens. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I guess like the video if you want to, just to show your support. It's obviously not a very positive video, but I don't know, feel free to like it if you want. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about this. Do you think it's possible that Superman and Lois and other shows on the C that are currently on the CW could go to their respective networks, their respective streamers that they usually do after the season, but full time? So Superman and Lois to HBO Max, Walker to Paramount. Do you think that could happen? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, want to show your support and subscribe, want to do that. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Goodbye.